Hello, this is Yogeshwar 7000 again, and I'm back with another interesting topic in Vedic astrology. And I was thinking that I have not made a video on remedies lately, so I thought I'll make one real quick here. And of course, there are several techniques and several ways and several remedies and several remedial measures as per Vedic astrology. And today we'll be talking about a very special remedial measure which is mentioned in the Puranas. So this is coming directly from the Puranas. It's not something which an astrologer has created in the recent day and ages. This is coming directly from the Puranas, and this is involving the Tithis. So first we understand what Tithis are, and I've made several videos on Tithis in the past, so people who have not watched those, please refer to those, what a Tithi is, but I'll just go over it real quick here. Well, Hindu calendar does not, or the Vedic astrology, or the Vedic calendar rather, does not follow the Western calendar. Now, as per the Western calendar, there are 30 days in a month, which is what the Hindu calendar also observes, 30 days in a month, but it's based on Tithis, and Tithi is considered to be one day as per the Hindu calendar, but Tithi is based on the movement of moon. So how moon is in a particular day is going to determine what tithi it is. So the 30-day period is divided into two 15-day periods, and so there'll be 15 tithi in the first group and 15 tithis in the second group. The first group will be the waxing period of the moon. So the moon cycle begins and it waxes. So the first tithi is when the angular distance between the sun and the moon is 12 degrees. So that's when the first tithi is, where the moon gets very little light, so it starts to wax or increase in its brilliance, so as to say. And at that point, and that happens when the angular distance, like I said, between the sun and the moon is 12 degrees, and this angular distance between the sun and the moon increases gradually as each tithi progresses, and the moon gets more light and more light and more light as the angular distance between the sun and the moon increases, until the angular distance goes to 180 degrees, and that's when the moon is the brightest, and it's called full moon day, or it's called Purnima in Sanskrit. So the first tithi is observed when the angular distance between the sun and the moon is 12 degrees. The second tithi is observed when the angular distance between the sun and the moon is 24 degrees. The third tithi is observed when the angular distance between the sun and the moon is 36 degrees, and so on it goes until the 15th tithi, when it's full moon or Purnima day. And each of these tithis are actually each days as per the Hindu calendar. And then the cycle begins, which begins in the reverse order, and it begins to wane. And then the first cycle was when the moon waxes, is called Shukla Paksha in Sanskrit, and the second cycle, when the moon wanes, it is called the Krishna Paksha, or the dark half of the moon, where moon slowly loses its brilliance. So on the first day of the waning moon, it is again at an angular distance of 180 degrees minus 12 degrees. So it is 168 degrees. So the angular distance between the sun and the moon is 168 degrees, and then it slowly increases. The distance actually decreases It does not increase. In the waxing period, the distance between the sun and the moon increases, and the waning period, this distance between the sun and the moon decreases by 12 degrees every tithi, or every Hindu calendar day. And it goes on. So the first tithi of the Krishna Paksha, or the waning moon, the angular distance is 168 degrees, and then the second tithi of the waning moon, or the Krishna Paksha, the angular distance between the sun and the moon is 168 minus 12, which is 156 degrees, and so on and so forth, and keeps continuing until it reaches the dark moon day, or Amavasya, when the angular distance between the sun and the moon is 0, and that point moon loses its entire brilliance, and you cannot see the moon. It's complete dark. So this is what a tithi is, and this is what a Hindu calendar month is based on. So I just wanted to go over it real quick for people who do not understand. So, and what we'll do is we'll go through the remedial measures as to what has been prescribed in the ancient scriptures, or rather the Puranas, as to what god rules over a tithi, and based on the god, because every god rules over a particular tithi, and whether it's a waning period or a waxing period, is the same god. So the first tithi is called the Pratipada, which is the first tithi. The second tithi is called Dvitiya. The third tithi is called Tritiya. The fourth tithi is called Chaturthi. The fifth tithi is called Panchami. The sixth tithi is called Shashti. The seventh tithi is called Saptami. The eighth tithi is called Ashtami. The ninth tithi is called Navami. The 10th tithi is called Dashmi. The 11th tithi is called Ekadashi. The 12th tithi is called Dwadashi. The 13th tithi is called Trayodashi. The 14th tithi is called Chaturdasi, and the 15th tithi is Purnima, which is full moon. And it just explained you how it works. And either it's a waning period or the waxing period, there'll be only 15 tithis, and the rulership will be the same. So I'm repeating, in a waxing period or a waning period, the rulership, the ruling deity of the tithi is going to be one. So how we do these remedies is, basically we have to understand who the ruling deities of the tithi is. So the first tithi ruling deity is Lord Agni, and it is mentioned in the Puranas very clearly that whoever worships Lord Agni during the first tithi, either waxing or waning, will please Lord Agni, and it is supposed to bring good luck to him, because that tithi is ruled by Lord Agni. So Lord Agni has to be prayed, and of course there are rituals. So please contact a Vedic scholar who understands how Lord Agni is to be worshipped. And the second tithi is the tithi when the Ashwinis were born, and they are celestial creatures, not creatures, celestial gods, I apologize, and they have to be worshipped on this day, because the Ashwini rules over the second tithi, whether waxing or waning. And if you do it with the right rituals, it is believed to get you stable health, because Ashwinis are also the celestial gods of physicians. So whoever worships Ashwinis will get good health. But again, the Puranas have mentioned very clearly that Ashwinis have to be prayed on the second tithi, either waxing or waning. The third tithi is the tithi when goddess Gauri got married, and it is mentioned in the Puranas that goddess Gauri has to be worshipped on this tithi, which is the third tithi, which is also called Trayodashi or Tritiya. Not Trayodashi, I apologize. Trayodashi is the 13th. Tritiya. So on the Tritiya, Lord, the goddess Gauri has to be worshipped, because her own marriage was solemnized on the third tithi. And it is believed that if girls worship goddess Gauri on this day, which is the third tithi or the Tritiya, their marriage happens. good, or she gets a good groom, so as to say. But then again, consult a Vedic scholar before you get into any kind of a worship, because that is extremely important. The Chaturthi is the fourth Tithi, and it is when Lord Ganesha was born. So Lord Ganesha has to be worshipped on this, not that he cannot be worshipped on other days or other tithis, but it is very auspicious to worship Lord Ganesha or Lord Vinayaka on every Chaturthi, because that is the birthday of Lord Ganesha, and he becomes extremely pleased. Again, consult a Vedic scholar, don't do it yourself. Panchami is the fifth Tithi, and that is the day when Nagas were born, or the celestial snakes. The celestial snakes were born on this day, and that's why, if you've heard of this great festival, which is Naga Panchami. So Panchami is the day which is being given to the Nagas, or the snakes, and it is believed that on Panchami day, whether it's a waxing or a waning period, meaning whether it's a Krishna Paksha or a Shukla Paksha, if the Nagas or the snakes or the snake gods or the celestial snakes are prayed, they become extremely happy. But again, according to the proper rituals, milk is offered, but just follow the rituals, follow the advice of the Vedic scholar before you do any kind of a thing. Then it's Shashti, which is the sixth Tithi, that marks the birth of Lord Subramanya, which is the son of Shiva and Parvati, one of the sons of Shiva and Parvati, along with Lord Ganesha. So according to the ancient scriptures or the Puranas, if Lord Subramanya, who was born on this day on a Shashti, is prayed either in a waxing and waning period on the sixth Tithi, he becomes extremely happy, and this brings success and good luck to whoever worships him. Then comes the seventh Tithi, or the Saptami, and this is when the sun god was born. So if sun god is worshipped, because it's kind of his birthday, if sun god is worshipped, all these days where these gods were born, all these tithis, if you worship them on their tithis or their birthday kind of a thing, which happens actually twice a month, so they become extremely happy and they bless you. And if it's mentioned in the Puranas that if you worship the sun god on the seventh Tithi, or the Saptami as it's called in Sanskrit, he gives good health to the worshipper. Then comes Ashtami, and this is the birth Tithi of the 8 incarnations of Goddess Durga. And if you want to get rid of your fear of enemies, you have to worship Goddess Durga. Not that you cannot worship on any other day, but if Goddess Durga is worshipped on the Ashtami day or the 8th Tithi, either waxing or waning, then she becomes extremely pleased with you, and she gives you help in overcoming your adversaries or your enemies. Okay? Then comes the 9th Tithi, or the Navami as it's called. And the Puranas say that, of course, this is the birth Tithi of Lord Rama. Rama was born on Navami day, and we celebrate the birthday of Rama on Navami, which just comes after every Navaratri, as we call it, the 9 days of the goddess. The 9th is the Navami, and it's considered to be extremely auspicious if you pray to Lord Rama. Once again, you can pray to him anytime, but this particular Tithi is very, very auspicious when you pray to Lord Rama, and also his wife Sita, which is nothing but the incarnation of Goddess Lakshmi. Then comes Dashami, and basically Dashami is the day which is being dedicated to the Lord of 8 directions, or Ashtadikpalas as it's said in Sanskrit, Lord of 8 directions. There are 8 directions. They're not 4. Well, as per the West, the main directions are 4, but as per Hinduism, the main directions are 8 directions, and the Lord of the 8 direction rules over this tithi, which is the Dashami, and one should worship the Lord of the 8 directions and get their blessings on this particular day. And then the most, or not the most, one of the most auspicious day is the Ekadashi, which is the 11th tithi, and this is the birth tithi of Lord Kubera, the god of wealth. And if you worship Lord Kubera on the 11th tithi, it is considered very auspicious, and he can bless you with a lot of wealth. Dwadashi, which is the 12th tithi. This is a favorite tithi of Lord Mahavishnu, because Mahavishnu came in on this tithi as an avatara, as an incarnation, and he came in as an incarnation of Vamana to destroy the demon king Bali. So one can worship Lord Mahavishnu or Vishnu on Dwadashi days, which is the 12th tithi. Trayodashi is the 13th tithi that you can choose. It's mentioned in the Puranas that you can choose your own favorite deity to pray to or worship on this particular tithi. Then comes Chaturdashi, which is the 14th tithi, and Lord Shiva is prayed during this day. And well, you can perform all kinds of Rudra Puja, Shiva Puja, Rudrabhishek, all kinds of, and that's going to bring you a lot of auspiciousness. But once again, follow the advice of a Vedic scholar. Just don't blindly start worshipping. And a lot of other factors have to be taken into consideration, looking at your own birth chart and seeing, you know, your Ishtadevata, your gods, your favorite gods. I mean, there are several ways to do it. Just don't jump to a conclusion. But this video is for people who understand that aspect, so I'm taking that as an assumption that they already would know. But these are the tithis, and these are the rulership of the gods of these tithis, and they become extremely pleased when they are worshipped on their tithis which are allocated to them. And of course, the full moon day, the planet moon or the god moon rules over this day, and if you pray to god moon on this day, you can get a lot of wealth and a lot of mental peace, because moon is about the mind. It's about sukha, the mind, the basic nurturing, what we all need. So full moon day is very auspicious for praying to the moon god. And then if you go back, you know, to the dark moon of the day, from where the first tithi starts, the dark moon, or no moon day rather, when it's complete amavasya or complete darkness, it's the day allocated to performing rituals and worship to our ancestors, or the pitris as we call them. So you get the blessings of the pitris on an amavas day. So try to, you know, worship your pitris or ancestors as much as possible on a dark moon day or no moon day or complete amavasya or complete darkness. That's the day which is allocated to them as per the Puranas. So hopefully you did enjoy this video, and like I mentioned, you know, it has to be, all these remedies have to be performed under the guidance of a Vedic scholar and in combination with your planets as per your birth chart. So it's better if you consult a Vedic astrologer as well. And like I said, then you can go ahead and do that. Don't jump into experimenting it yourself. So in the meanwhile, I will recommend subscribe to my channel, check out my website. There is a link below, and I will see you with an interesting topic on Vedic astrology very soon. Goodbye.